My name is Kevin Zeese, Director of Democracy Rising. I'm with Tina Richards, who's the head of CEO of Grassroots America, and she's also the mother of a Marine who served 2 tours of duty in Washington, D.C. Excuse me, in Iraq. But Tina's been in Washington, D.C. now for months, since the Democrats took power. And I wanted to get a sense from you of how that's looking and what you think we need to do as a movement to really impact Congress to end this war as quickly as possible.
Well, one thing, since I've been on the Hill in the halls of Congress for the last few months, is that I have seen the power of people coming in and having Congress, that members that are very, they seem to be very egotistical in their demeanor towards the common people, rather than being from the people. And I noticed that when they have to encounter with us ordinary people, that it upsets them, and it maybe changes the way that they think and the way that they do things. And I thought, if it's just one person or 2 people or a few people up there that's having this big of an impact, where we can show up at a hearing and whether we're holding up signs or speaking out, we can direct the whole way that the hearing is conducted from that point forward. I was in a Senate hearing where Orrin Hatch was speaking, giving rhetoric about demoralizing the troops, how ending the war is going to demoralize the troops. And I stood up and I talked to him and told him that this is not, the real demoralization of the troops is how the veterans are treated when they return home, or to send even more of our troops in with no clear direction home and no clear direction to stop this war. And the rest of the conversation for that hearing was directed at me and the military families and the impact on the veterans. And, and since then I've been talking to the members of Congress, interacting with them, and trying to bring it down to a more human level. Because it seems that when they go back home, they have everything scripted and set up, and there's no true interaction with them. When you're in the halls of Congress, you've got people that you're running into in the cafeteria, on their way to their offices, even in the bathroom. And you can get a much more human response from them.
So people can have an impact, essentially. Individuals in Washington can have an impact. And so what do you think at this critical point now? We've seen the Congress pass a supplemental that begins to take small steps toward ending the war. You see the president vetoing it. What can we do now to push this to the next level and really get this war ended? What, in the next few months, what needs to happen?
Well, what really struck me was when David Obey started talking about idiot liberals and that we can't get the votes. It's a complete viewpoint from defeatism, that they are not going to be able to get any votes, so why even bother to try? And I thought, if just a few people are in those halls of Congress and the impact that they're making, if we can get thousands into those halls of Congress, where they're interacting with people every day,
right,
and anything can happen,
right,
that those are the type of activities that need to happen to get this to change, so that we can get them the votes to pass real legislation that ends the war, not a supplemental that has so many loopholes, or people that we think are on our side, and then I talk to them and find out that they're like, well, you don't expect all the troops to come home. And, and it's like, well, yeah, that's been, what do you think bring them home now means? It doesn't mean bring some combat troops home in a year and a half. It means
and leave the rest there to fight the terrorists.
And leave the rest of them to fight the terrorists, or basically
protect the forts, train the Iraqis, whatever.
Yeah.
So we've been talking
basically,
about...
it's an anti-surge supplemental. We're going to pay for everything. We'll even pay for the surge, but on the language, we just don't want to include the surge part of it. Because all they're talking about taking out is some combat troops that have been put in there because of this surge from the escalation from George Bush. So it has... We'll be right back, in a year and a half, we'll be right back where we started on before the Democrats took over. Yeah. We are no better off.
Yeah, no, I think in some ways Bush increasing the number of troops in Iraq lets him next year, in the election year, start withdrawing some troops back from 170,000 down to 130,000. Why withdraw 40,000 troops? It makes it look like something's really happening when it's really not. So we've been discussing plans for this summer. We've talked about this summer of action. What does that involve? What's the summer of action?
Well, what we've been doing up here for the last couple of months, and it was inspired by the Voices for Creative Nonviolence, and they started a project called the Occupation Project, where people across the country started occupying offices, doing sit-ins in various creative ways. And it had an impact. It had a strong impact, and it helped motivate people to take action.
Right.
And we've been doing, basically I took on the halls of Congress for my occupation project, and it has been an amazing process of gathering and people together, and of it growing with more and more people involved, and seeing the impact that we can have, taking action. And that's what this summer is about. I have right now already 5 different major ideas to, every week we're going to have a major action where, much like the Hart Senate office building that we occupied last month, we occupied the month before that, where the whole Hart Senate office building, basically, there was no business as usual.
Right.
We were busy, like Congressman John Lewis told us, that we have to throw sands into the gears of government. If we don't stop business as usual, they will continue this war. Right. And it is up to us, the people, the citizens, to throw sand into those gears of government and say, no, there's no more business as usual until you do something to end this war. Right. And we have to be there in those halls of Congress to do it every day.
We have a good core group of people in the D.C. area who are working on these kinds of projects, and what we need to have is more people coming in from outside D.C. to join us. If you want to get an idea of what you can do, if you go to whynotnews.org, you can see a lot of videos there, or Grassroots for America, you can see a lot of videos there. GrassrootsAmericaForUs.org, you can see a lot of video there as well, what we've been doing.
Go to the registration page.
The registration page you register right on Grassroots for America. You can register there. And
Grassroots America for Us.
I'm sorry, I get that
Say it
wrong.
One more time, and then you can cut out the other ones.
And so what we really want to see is people coming in, and they'll all be filmed. We'll have video cameras, and you can bring your own cameras and film.
Yeah, we need video activists to join with Why Not News, and because this has just been an important component to it. And we have ideas from auctions, from picket lines to stop the war. Some major actions, and they don't all involve the risk of arrest. We have also setting up congressional visits, or how to meet up with your congressperson or your senator if you haven't gotten any responses.
There'll be workshops to help.
Workshops. We've got some wonderful people that we're bringing on board for workshops, from David Swanson and Medea Benjamin for the creative side, Cindy Sheehan, Ann Wright. A huge list of people that are now getting together to show the different ways that you can take action to really end this war. I hear from so many families, especially military families, that they feel so helpless. They don't know what they can do, how to stop this war. And as the mother of a Marine who suffered through 2 tours of his duty over there, and every day wondering what I could do 6,000 miles away to get him home and to end this war, I had that hopelessness. Well, I don't have that hopelessness anymore. Every day there is actions, there is planning for actions to end this war and put the pressure on our Congress to get this war over with. And if they won't do it, then we will get people in there that will. For the Summer of Action, we have GrassrootsAmericaForUs.org, and that will take you, go to the registration page, sign up, let me know that you're coming, and so we can get the workshops going. We also have United for Peace and Justice has endorsed this program, and they have a housing board set up. So don't worry about where you're going to be staying. Go into the housing board and put in that you need a place. We'll get you a place. So that way, and we'll get you Metro cards if we need Metro cards, or whatever it is that we need, so that you can be here and you can just participate in your democracy. Take action. Stop sitting around thinking, what can you do to end the war? We've got a whole summer planned for you to help end this war. We just need you out here in D.C. to do it. Because back at home, you can still do a lot. But when you're here every day getting in the way that business is done in Congress, and we tell them no more business as usual, that is what is going to end this war and have an impact on the politicians that insist on continuing this war.
Let me just conclude with the final point that every paradigm shift in history has a historical moment, and if we make this Summer of Action what it could be, it will be a historical moment that will be remembered for years and years in this country, about people taking action into war. And so I hope that people will come to Washington, D.C., get involved in this action, and join us. Go to GrassrootsAmericaForUs.org and sign up. Go to whynotnews.org and see the types of actions that we're doing. And join us in Washington, D.C. summer to make a difference and really see this war come to an end.